So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, so he's got a little bit more forward in him. And then this is what I would consider a working jog. And a working trot for dressage is going to be a lot more forward, and you'd rise to it. But you want your horse to look like he's free in his shoulders and his hind end, and he's carefully moving forward willingly. Yeah, do you guys want to see what the difference in the lopes would be? So in the show pen, I'd probably lope him a little bit more collected, and a little softer like this. I'll move him forward a little bit more for the Western dressage. And anytime they call for a working, those are the beginning levels. So you don't want to have your horse over-collected, because you'll eventually get to a collected lope. And if you collect them too early, the reason dressage is good is a lot of us in the show arena collect our horses too early. And we end up with lopes that aren't pure or true. So in the Western dressage, we'd like to keep it to where they're still moving forward, they have a complete 3-beat gait. And then once we get up the levels, we'll collect them and bring them down more collected and slow.
The question in the stands is, are the dressage arenas the same size or similar to what we use for regular dressage?
They're exactly the same size. So that's why the shows can provide Western dressage and regular dressage on the same weekend, because the arena is exactly the same. Her question was large or small arena. Usually we end up riding in the regular standard, not a short court, because that's what they've already set up.
The question is asking who is certified to judge Western dressage right now.
Well, right now at this point, what they're doing is they're using certified dressage judges, because they know what the gaits and the movement should be. At some point, it may change to where we'll get some Western judges that are certified to know what the proper movements are. At this point, it's regular dressage judges. And I've been showing it for 4 to 5 years now, and the regular dressage judges are very good. I've scored on the same horse very evenly through my regular dressage, Western dressage. I've found no prejudice against it. I found that they're very happy with the division, and have really enjoyed judging it. So. Yes, her question was what the background on this horse. This horse was trained by Eitan Bethalami, and I got him almost about a year, and almost 2 years maybe by now. And so I started working the horse regular dressage, and he's a Western pleasure horse also. So we just continue his career in the Western dressage to help promote the breed in him, and he likes it. And the Western dressage improves, in my opinion, the horses Western in the show arena. You know, I rode him in a class here earlier in the week, and I got boxed in, and I can canter in place until I have a spot and leg yield past someone and he'll keep cantering. So it's very beneficial for me as a trainer to have when I'm in the regular rail classes. I can depend on my horses, and they have the tools, in my opinion, to achieve what I need to ask of them.
We had another question about the saddle, whether you could use a show saddle or use a working saddle like what you have right now.
Yes, I use my Old West saddle. It sets my leg right underneath me like a dressage saddle. And I also show my horses in the silver and the show saddles. I just kind of decide what I want to wear for the day and what I think looks best with the horses. But you can use an Old West saddle. You can use any Western saddle. It doesn't have to have silver on it. If you want to dress all up, you can have the silver. You can do all that. We have a tendency just to have a lot of different variations on our horses when we show because it's fun.
We have another question about how big the horses. Would you prefer to have a taller horse, or does size really matter for this division?
Just like regular dressage, I think it's best if the horse fits the rider. The rider will be more effective with their aids. A small horse is going to do your collection better. It's going to be a little easier to turn on your tight circles. A big horse is a lot of times going to be better in your extension. So I don't think there should be a prejudice to whether your horse is big or small. Just that they move proper for the division and they enjoy doing it. If you're on a big horse, you're going to have to adjust for turning down center lines. If you're on a small horse, same thing. You can't ride him exactly like you would a large horse. You just have to learn to accommodate it. But I don't think size makes any difference. I'm very short, so hopefully size doesn't make a difference.
Are there any other questions for Julie? Okay. For more information on this division, it is part of the Morgan Division's rules within the USCF rulebook. And also, if you go to the USCF website and you go into the Discipline and Breeds tab of the left-hand side of the website and go to Morgan's, there is a full explanation of the rules, kind of condensed version in one place that you can download the tests, all of the rules, general explanation. If you encounter someone that has questions and you want to tell them about this division, there's a lot of information there that's all in one little area that you can download real easily.
Just a word of explanation. If you want to do a Western dressage class at your horse show, the rules do state that it has to use the dressage judge. And I want to give all of you a heads up to please get all the information off the website and into the hand of the dressage judge. I've done a number of these, and it causes great confusion for the judge if she doesn't have the explanation. Once he or she sees it, they don't seem to have any trouble with it. But to just say Western dressage, we had to work through the dressage test committee to get our tests. And I had people say, well, Western horses don't collect. How can you expect impulsion and all this? And I thank heavens for Hilda Gurney, because she was respected among the dressage people, and she has worked Morgan's, and she set them all straight on that. So be careful if you do this to get all the material that Christina referred to up front and in the hands of that dressage judge before they ever get to the show, so that they can come prepared. Everybody I've worked with ends up loving it. And even Sue Malone Casey, that was here judging our dressage, has judged for me a Western dressage classes. So I just give you a little forewarning. It's a good thing, and everybody loves it, but when it's completely strange to them, it kind of scares them.
And remember, you can contact anyone on the USCF Morgan Rules Committee. We're there to help you answer any questions. We want to encourage you to put this division into your horse shows It's done real well in certain areas that have tried it. It will add entries to your shows and bring more horses, and it's definitely a positive discipline for our breed to be involved with. Are there any other questions? It's very exciting because the Morgans really are on the front end of this, and we're leading the... Well, there was actually a nice article in Horse and Rider magazine that was written by a quarter horse man by the name of Al Dunning. It was in a few months ago. And so I believe it's going to start filtering into your other breeds pretty quickly once it gets... Right now, only the dressage judges can judge Western dressage. Until we work on that aspect of it, it can only be at a USEF Morgan show under the Morgan Division rules.
But real quick note, our local show, breed show, it's open to all breeds, just like their regular dressage is. And I put some of my grooms on my husband's trail quarter horse, who's an ex-reiner. But he's not what you would even think that's on the rail. He's got a true 3-beat gait, big springy stride, and he ended up high score. So we're trying to promote other breeds, but my opinion is the Morgan could be one of the best breeds at this discipline. So we're trying to get the Morgans in there and to start it before everybody else. But like the show that was in our area, she's a warm blood person and does own one Morgan dressage horse, and she put that show on, and they had to turn people down of all different breeds. And so in our area, we're for California, it's growing so fast with other dressage people that are learning about it and already having the dressage shows that we kind of want to keep our clubs supporting it, so the Morgans are the ones known to be the Western dressage horse. Every breed can do it, but I believe the Morgan can go from basic levels all the way up to Grand Prix if that's what we choose to do with them.
The question is, how do the exhibitors find a Western dressage competition right now?
Well, ours, they put them on at our Morgan shows, and they put them on our Santa Barbara show, and those are just open to Morgans at this time. Hopefully we'll have one at our Oregon show this year. It's getting more popular, and what we try and do is anytime we hear of one, we try and go and support it. And then, because people do know in our area about the discipline, and they hold dressage shows at their barns, they're starting it up. And we got flyers, and of course, unfortunately, it was when I was here, but we'll get flyers in the mail, just like we would for their regular dressage show, the shows in our area, and we will be having our Morgans there in the spring, guaranteed. Even if I have to enter 3 months earlier to make sure that they're there to support it.
That's a great question, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Cliff Swanson, who can address that in more detail right now. And